Okay. Well, I'm delighted today that we have Darien's first selectman, Monica. Okay. Okay, let me start again. I'm delighted today that we have Darien's first selectman, fairly recently elected, and having had Jamie Stevenson do a goodbye speech to us last December, we now are ready for the new administration for Darien. Monica, as I'm sure many of you know, really raised a family here in Darien, is a committed Darienite. She was on the RTM. She was on the Public Works Committee. She became a selectman. And this is a story of rise to success because she was recently elected first selectman. So it's, one of the things that we enjoy here at the Darien Men's Association is a chance to meet and interact and ask questions of some of the people that contribute so much to the town. We had a very interesting lecture on Darien flood mitigation and water control. And, it's nice to be able in this format to be able to meet firsthand with the people that lead a town that I think we all are proud to be residents of. So with that, let me introduce Monica McNally, our new first selectman.
Wow. Is this okay, Mike? It's good? Okay. Hello, everyone. It is so terrific to be here. I have to say today is my 100th day in office. And I couldn't think of a better group to be starting my day with. So thank you. So font is a little small, so I'm going to put these on. So yes, I am new to this. I am following Jamie Stevenson's steps, and her shoe size and mine are pretty much the same, but she did a fantastic job. I do, as was noted, I have been in town for a long time. I have a finance and investment background, and I've been involved with many organizations during my 27 years in town, including the RTM. And I know I do this all the time, but a shout out to anybody that wants to get involved in town government or wants to know what's going on. The RTM is an excellent place to start. There are all different types of committees, so you can work on something that you're interested in, but you can also learn about everything else that's happening in the town. So that's my PSA for RTM, which gave me the great background that I have for this job. So there are many great and exciting things going on in town, and I'm pleased to be here to share them with you. As you know, I do not work alone. I have the support of my town administrator, Kate Bush, and all of the department heads. And I can tell you as a new person leading the town that the town's employees are top notch. The department heads are fantastic. Really, just a shout out to all of them. I also work with Linda O'Leary and Karen Dunn in the town office, who are terrific. I am also honored to be working with the members of my board, all of whom have served this town in a variety of capacities for many years. Their collective knowledge is invaluable. Sarah Newman is serving her second year as a selectman, and she also served on the RTM and was co-chair of the Hindley and the Darien High School PTOs. Marcy Minnick is new to the Board of Selectmen, but not new to serving Darien, and she was a member of the RTM and the Oxridge PTO. Mike Burke, who is also on the RTM, came to the Board of Selectmen most recently from 6 years serving on the Board of Ed. And many of you, I'm sure, have met John Zagrodzky, who served 13 years on the Board of Finance, 6 as chair, and is now on the Board of Selectmen. So I know that Jim Palin is going to come and speak to you about the budget. So I'm not going to go into a deep dive, but I just wanted to let you know that we spent the better the better part of at least the last month deliberating and passing our budget for fiscal year 23. The budget now moves to the Board of Finance for in March for deliberation, with a final budget to be delivered to the RTM in early May. Serious time and consideration was given to balancing the needs for conservative fiscal policy in the face of an increasing inflationary environment nationwide, and with the rapid growth of Darien that we will continue to see over the next few years. The proposed developments in the works will greatly enhance Darien's appeal and tax base. With such growth comes the town's responsibility to service both new businesses and residences. We will need to increase our staff and town resources to manage the ongoing inspections to support these developments. I wonder if you can remember the last time you lived in a community that was experiencing such revitalization as we are in town right now. So first, I'd like to bring you up to date on the major construction projects. These will result in increased housing opportunities, new shops and restaurants, and all of which will attract people to Darien to live and work and experience our wonderful town. We have so much to be excited about and to offer in just the next few years. In Norotan Heights, there are two major construction projects. Darien Commons is being developed by Federal Realty, and this site is attracting some Manhattan branch-based brands that will be making their first foray into Fairfield County. There was a large drainage and stormwater system that was installed there to help reduce flooding issues on the Heights Road. But to be clear, this was designed and it did work this fall, but it's not going to remove all flooding water. That's not, it doesn't have that capacity. The site will also include 122 two-bedroom apartments on the upper floors, and approximately 13% of the those units will be affordable. Expect to see some commercial tenants opening their doors early this fall, and the value of this project is around 100 million. The Corbin Project is in phase 1 of construction, and the northeast side of Corbin Drive is just starting to take place. The groundwork is being laid for 3 mixed-use buildings to be constructed on that side of the street. And as we speak, literally as we speak, this morning, there will be 100 truckloads of cement delivered over there. So you should avoid that area because Corbin Road will be closed until 2:30 today. But I stopped over this morning. It's pretty exciting to see. So once these buildings are complete in early 23, phase 2 can begin. And phase 2 will involve tearing down the structures on the south side of the post road. So everything from Corbin Drive west to the exit 11 ramp, allowing for construction of 6 new buildings. So it'll be similar to the Heights project and the federal project. There will be apartments on the upper floors, 1 and 2 bedroom, and a mix of retail and restaurants on the first floors. The entire Corbin district will include 116 units of housing, and final occupancy is expected to be in 2024. And this value of this project is also around 100 million. The latest of the 3 major projects is located on the Palmer property in Norotan Heights. And as we all know, this project was slightly delayed, but the developers have submitted a revised application, which is currently before the Planning and Zoning Commission. The commission is expected to make a decision in the next few weeks. This development will have some 3-bedroom units in it for a total of 59 units. A big anchor tenant over there is the Goddard School. And this is a well-established child care facility that will be opening up on along Heights Road in Hollow Tree. We have 2 additional projects being developed with housing also on the upper floors and retail below. The Darien Place, which is the former movie theater, and 1897 Post Road, where the Drapery Exchange was. A proposal for 3 Parklands Drive was approved last night. I'm sorry, it's under consideration. It was approved. There were 3 public hearings held in the fall. I think there was over 9 hours of testimony. And last night, it was approved for a 60-unit multifamily with 8 affordable units in there. And we have a proposal for a 78-child Montessori school. This is the Guidepost Montessori School. This is pending approval. And this new school is, it's going to be where the Tri-Orient office building is. Does everybody know where that is? It's over by the deli, the Italian deli on Old Tokenique Road. Right, so it was a new building. So they're looking to put a Montessori school there. Last February 3rd, so I guess 2 weeks ago, the governor announced that Fairfield and Litchfield County are now eligible for FEMA public assistance from grants. This approval means that municipal governments within these two counties, in addition to state and government and certain nonprofit organizations, are eligible to apply for federal reimbursement of 75% of the costs associated with uninsured damage to public infrastructure caused by the storm, as well as costs associated with their response and emergency protective measures. I will be working with our Director of Public Works, Ed Gentile, to seek grant funding opportunities for various projects, including the Gorham's Pond Dam project that needs to be repaired. On flooding, the Public Works has been very busy. So on flooding, we have 3 separate studies looking at 3 different areas, including Bailey Avenue, the Salt Box area, which is Coach Lamp, Thomasina and Pleasant, and the Grove Street Tilly Pond area. These studies are underway. They're due back between May and September of this coming year. And the town invested about $105,000 to look at flooding mitigation efforts in those areas. Intersections, the town received a state grant for intersection approval at the intersection of Norotan Avenue and West Avenue in Norotan Heights. And the State Department of Transportation is now in the process of reviewing the final paperwork, including final bids for final bid details. The improvement there should begin this April or May, so right around the block. So we're looking forward to having traffic flow more safely and smoothly through this. The town is also looking into improvements at Ledge Road and Norotan Avenue. On bridges and dams, I did mention we are doing temporary repairs at Gorham's Pond Rings End Road Bridge Dam right now. And we also have Old Kings Highway South Bridge and Camp Avenue Bridge work is proposed. Eliminating repair costs, estimated repair costs is about 1.2 million. And we're looking for possible funding from that from FEMA, as in the program I just mentioned, or ARPA funds. Phase 1 of the sanitary sewer and infrastructure analysis has happened. We have 2.3 million in bonding to take place to begin construction this work. An emergency lining project on Old Kings Highway South was necessitated by defects found during the investigation phase of this project. Repair work is to begin this early summer. It'll last for 3 to 4 months, and the cost there is approximately $900,000. Again, that's possibly an ARPA project. Townwide paving, we continue pretty much at our kind of our normal pace of around 6 miles a year. So this year we are planning on paving 6.4 miles out of our 81 miles of paved roads, and the budget there is I have 1.5, but I think it's 1.2. We're going to go with 1.2. Sidewalk replacement, we are planning to replace approximately 1 mile of sidewalk this year. Sidewalks are also planned within Norotan Heights Rail Station South parking lot. Winter storm tracking, we have 12 winter events to date this year. I double checked, it didn't seem like we had 12 events, but I was told that those include anytime we put down salt, etc. And we have actually used over 950 tons of salt this year, which is a lot. Eversource, I was on a call 2 days ago with Eversource. So as you know, they did do a lot of work in town laying the mains for natural gas, and they are looking to add kind of arteries off of West Avenue and also off of the Post Road. So that will impact Hollow Tree, Fairfield Avenue, and the Beach Drive area. And there are approximately 236 residents that could then hook up to natural gas if they desire. The ARPA committee has been very busy. As you probably remember, we received about a little over $6.43 million in ARPA funds. We received half last June and we'll receive the other half this year. 3.75 has been targeted for infrastructure projects, some of which I just mentioned, with a focus on drainage updates and improvements to our sewer system. Capital projects in town parks and facilities are another area of focus with an eye to providing budgetary relief this year, 2023. Also expected to be funded are initiatives related to mental health, food insecurity, and other emergency assistance for residents negatively impacted by COVID. It's anticipated that the committee will make its report to the Board of Selectmen at their regular meeting on February 28th. And a full list of projects and funding amounts will be posted on the website prior to the Board of Selectmen meeting. And as always, we welcome your public comment and your input. So if you go to the website, you'll see ARPA up there on the main page. And I sincerely hope that you will take a look at the projects that we're thinking about funding for this. And if you have any suggestions or additions, reach out. You can reach out. John Zagrodsky is chairing this committee, but you can always reach out to me and I will make sure. I'm actually on this committee also, but I will make sure that your thoughts are included. Building committees, the work of the Oxbridge Building Committee began in early 2019. And I want to give a major thanks to all of the diligent volunteers that have been working on that. We are about to complete a fabulous new elementary school on time and on budget, which makes me very happy. The move from the old elementary school to the new building will take place over the summer, and the new school year is bound to be a very exciting one for all of the children and the teachers and the parents for Oxbridge. We have just established a new building committee. Unlike the brand new school being built at Ox Ridge, this committee will work to make substantial renovations to 3 existing schools, Hinley, Holmes, and Royal. The first meeting of this, we're going to call this building committee HHR, just because it's shorter, is scheduled to take place tomorrow evening at 5 o'clock, and it'll air live on 79. Thank you, Mike. Background on how the plans to renovate the 3 schools came about will be provided during the meeting by the Board of Ed Chair, Duke Deneen. You'll hear about the plans to eliminate portables at the 3 elementary schools and reconstruct libraries to make them more multi-use spaces. And since COVID, I think we all know how important it is to invest in ways that can accommodate unprecedented and unexpected events. The committee consists of 9 members, including a representative from the Board of Selectmen, from the Board of Ed, and from the Board of Finance, and then 6 members from our community who have generously agreed to work on this. And we are extremely lucky in Darien to have such a skilled group of people come forward. So I'm very, very appreciative. On COVID, there have been 56 vaccination and booster clinics held at the town hall since 2021. And this is thanks in large part to the numbers of vaccinators and volunteers who have stepped forward to serve, because we can't do the clinics without volunteers. I have the greatest appreciation for all of these people. And I also really appreciate all of the people that helped, the town people and town employees that helped when we did our 2 COVID test kit handouts at the high school. We didn't choose to pick really super cold days, but that's what we were dealt, and people handed them out with smiles, and the community was really appreciative, and it was really great to be able to provide a positive service for our town. Given that regional demand for booster shots has diminished, the town is no longer running clinics, but booster shots may be scheduled through the health department. So just call the health department and they'll be able to help you. The vaccination rate for eligible Darien residents is currently 90.74%. And this strong vaccination rate supports our declining positivity rate. So our positivity rate peaked at over 17%, 17.5% in January, and we are, as of yesterday, down to 4.28%. So we are clearly moving in the right direction. There's now a cost-free state-sponsored test center in Darien. It's at St. John's Catholic Church on the Post Road. The hours of operation are Monday through Friday, 9 to 5. Appointments are recommended. This is a state site, so you would go onto the VAM site, but they're not required, and a doctor's order is not required. Everpoint continues to offer COVID test clinics at the Leroy West parking lot. As of February 28th, Governor Lamont's executive order on school mask mandates ends. For those of you who are coming to town hall to conduct business, we ask you to wear a mask if you're unvaccinated. If you're vaccinated, you have the option to mask or not. I know a lot of you have probably heard about redistricting, so I'll touch on that briefly. The RTM, the Representative Town Meeting, is evaluating a proposal from Darien Register of Voters to adjust our voting districts to better align with our new state House and Senate district lines. This might require changing town voting districts and some of your voting places and RTM representatives. Districts 1, 3, 4, and 5 are impacted, and according to my numbers, this looks like it'll impact about 350 residents. So if you're in 1, 3, 4, or 5, you can call our town clerk for any assistance on this, or the Register of Voters. So I wondered about what else you might want to hear about. There are other interesting things that we have going on. I want to talk about community values a little bit. I live in Darien because I like the people who live here. I've been in Darien for almost 30 years, and it's a wonderful place to live and to raise a family. You and I all know we are a welcoming community. We're generous with our outreach and our time. I will work with the Board of Selectmen elected to represent all of Darienites to support a statement of community values. The values of community life in Darien must include respect for and acceptance of people of all people from all places. These values expand to include a sustainable environment and fiscal responsibility. Community means family and safety to Darien. We must remain respectful of each other in all aspects of our daily lives and in all ways in which we communicate, including social media and joining in on various committee meetings that are held by town hall committees. We will strive for happy lives and a thriving and lively community. We do a good job, but we can strive to be better. The Ziegler property. The town has recently had a history of acquiring open space, and as your first selectman, I am very interested in continuing that. Great Island, the Ziegler property is stunning. It is awesome to paddleboard or kayak around it. And what a temptation it is, right? It could be Darien's Waveney on the water, but at what cost, right? It was great to see the cost reduced from 175 million to 100 million, but it is still 100 million. And that doesn't include the cost to improve it, right? Or the cost to maintain it, or the lost revenue in taxes, which is substantial. However, there's also a cost to opportunity missed. And if we don't try to do something, we as a town will, I think, regret it. This is truly a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. The town continues to have a great interest in reviewing this potential acquisition. And I'm not really at liberty to say anything more, but please stay tuned on that. And I'm in the presence of a lot of longtime residents with a wealth of information. So I welcome your thoughts on this, and please reach out to me individually, or I do have some cards if you want one. I would be really, really happy to hear your thoughts. So thank you on that. Public safety. Okay, this is a new one. The town is always trying to get the word out on issues related to public safety. There are some new troubling trends that I want to make you aware of. We are all aware of how many cars are stolen, right, or broken into. A lot are stolen with the keys in them. But since August, I've noticed a couple of other events that are concerning for me as your first selectman. A total of 33 checks have been stolen from residential mailboxes and tampered with. And this is a new one. The stealing of catalytic converters from vehicles began in December. And so far, 8 vehicles have had their catalytic converters stolen, 4 since the beginning of February. I did reach out to Chief Anderson. We all know how to solve the theft of cars, right? For the most part, lock your car, take your keys out. Remember that if your car is parked outside of your house and you have what I have, a garage opener, not only is your car at risk, but your home and your family is at risk. Catalytic converters. This is, I'm not like a car person. So I reached out to the chief, and at this point, they are very aware of this problem. As I said, we've had 4 since the start of February. But at this point, my advice to you would be to try to, when you're parking in public places, try to park near cameras. Okay, cameras are a big help to the police for finding these perpetrators. So that would be my advice on that. But know that the police are very aware of this situation. In conclusion, as I sat down to prepare for today's remarks, I was reminded of how lucky I am to live in such a charming and thriving New England town. We are and always will be a true community. We will continue to support each other and grow as a community together. So to that end, I welcome your input on matters before the Board of Selectmen, and I know my fellow Board of Selectmen have an equally strong commitment to Darien, and we are here to serve you. Thank you. Thank you.
Well, thank you very much, Monica. I hope this mic is working, is it? It's on. Okay, thank you. I'm going to be a little bit of the air traffic controller because we've got questions that may come through Zoom.
Hi, everyone. Thanks for joining us.
And we have questions, I'm sure, here in the audience. For the Zoom people, let me just remind you that in order to be recognized, go to the reactions button at the bottom right of your screen. Click on that, and then you can choose raise hand, and that will appear, and I'll be able to recognize you. But let me begin by just thanking you so much for that wonderful review of all of the things that are happening here in town. And I was particularly happy to hear that we're 90% vaccinated. I think that may be something to take real pride in. So I wonder if we have any questions here in the audience. Would you please come up because we want to have people see you as well. So I'm not gonna take a vote on that.
There we go. Yeah, the question I have for the first selectman, everything that I read in the paper or see on the media as it pertains to schools and education has to do with COVID, masking, safety, vaccines, everything else. What I hear virtually nothing about is what they're learning. And clearly, the Zoom education and the virtual education has caused some slip in what basically, ninth graders should be able to solve equations in algebra. 10th graders have to know their geometry. Yet I do hear that people have fallen behind. Are there any have you heard of any plans by the Board of Ed saying, how are we going to catch these kids up? Is there going to be an extended school year? Is there a lesson plan that's going to, maybe meld geometry with algebra? I'd like to hear about the education aspects, not just, being able to show up with at graduation and say, well, I don't have COVID.
Well, as you all know, as your first selectman, I'm not involved very much with the Board of Ed decisions. The school system runs the schools. I will say that I am in favor of the masking. I'm in favor of our town being able to decide, our superintendent and working with the Department of Health and any other experts to make the decision on the mask mandate on February 28th. As far as the education and the slippage, we have terrific people running our schools, and I'm sure that they are addressing this. But as I said, I am not on the Board of Ed or involved in a day-to-day basis with the school. So I can't answer to anything particular, but you are a very involved and educated audience. I would suggest you ask somebody from the school to come. I'm sure Dr. Adley would be happy to speak to you if he hasn't already. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. We just lost. Again, if anybody on Zoom wishes to ask a question, please go to reactions and then click on raise hand. We have another question here. Gary Banks.
Thanks, Monica. Good update. Could you give us an update on the parks and beaches? Parks and beaches, and things. We have a huge pickleball group here, and I know there's some plans at both Weed and Pear Tree.
I knew when I was looking at you, you were a pickleball player. Oh, you're not? Okay. Well,
there's pickleball. Yeah.
I have to say, I played pickleball for the first time last spring. Steve, I'm sorry, Steve, I forgot your last name. Great teacher. So if you're going to go down there, try to get him as your pro. We were really excited to have the 4 courts put in at Cherry Lawn, and it's turned out to be a very, very positive, exciting thing. As far as other developments are going on at the parks, there is a project that's been put forth. It's about a 1.9 million project at this point to put in a walking trail and do other remedial work over at Weed Beach to allow people, that's a 23-acre piece of property, to put in a path and allow people to walk on it. ADA compliant is the goal right now. And so it allow people in strollers or people in wheelchairs, et cetera, to use that path. And then there is a lot of work being done with the short lane piece of property that we purchased. So that will be, that is not in our budget, but will be being looked at separately. In our budget is a new playground over at McGuan, where the baseball fields are. And we are also looking at, we just approved at Baker Field, we had a problem with foul balls. Not me, I never hit a foul ball. But so we put a new backstop over there. And at Cherry Lawn, we are looking to finish the tennis courts up in this budget. So so a lot of work being done at the parks. Thank you for the question. Pear Tree was not brought forth this year for budget consideration, but that is on we have a 6-year capital plan, and that is to be looked at next year. I think that the Park and Rec Commission and the Park and Rec Committee decided to prioritize Weed Beach for this year. Thank you.
Yeah, Monica, I'm actually in charge of pickleball for the Darien Men's Association. And as you know, it's the fastest growing sport in the US. And I know that they're spending, my understanding is about $200,000 at Cherry Lawn to redo the tennis courts.
Mm-hmm.
The 4 pickleball courts that were put in, again, I may be wrong, you can correct me. The town of Darien did not put in any money there. We collected funds ourselves, including the Darien Men's Association. We contributed over $8,000.
It was a terrific volunteer effort from the town.
Yeah, the Darien Athletic Foundation chipped in a lot of money too. Those courts are already very crowded. And I was wondering if there are any plans or if anything's going to be done for additional courts, because it seems that the tennis program is a bit on the decline, whereas pickleball is really tremendously increased. And while they are putting in all that money for fixing up the tennis courts, could not they maybe make additional pickleball courts? And, you know,
How many more pickleball courts would you like?
well, it would be nice to have another 4, but at
4?
least 2 more. And one other situation too, for the longest period of time, we have been requesting as a group, the Darien Men's Association, because I believe we do a lot for the town too, dedicated times, because we have a large group, at least 20 people, an average age of at least 75 to 77 playing. And it would be nice if we could go down there knowing that we have 2 or 3 courts available for us without, you know, worrying about, oh, are we going to be able to get on the courts? And up to this point, we have not been able to get the reservations or dedicated times. And we usually go every Tuesday and Thursdays. And fortunately, we've been able to get there and have been able to play. Most people know that the Darien Men's Association comes at that time, so they don't. But it would be nice if we were given dedicated times. That's all. So it would be nice. So far, Parks and Rec has not done this for us. We've appealed to them, and they keep on putting us off. The other thing is possibly maybe they need a reservation system because it's growing so fast.
Do we take reservations for tennis?
I believe that they do, but I don't play there. I play tennis elsewhere, so I don't know. I know they used to, and I believe they do at Wheat Beach. Other people may know, and I think they certainly do for paddle.
Okay. Who here plays pickleball?
Oh, we got Brian. Put your hand up. Oh, we got.
That
And
counts.
Unfortunately, we've had to limit the number too, Monica, because there hasn't been enough room. Right now, the people that are playing are more advanced players, or certainly have been playing for a while. We haven't had much room for beginners. I've sent them to Steve, and Steve's been doing a good job with that.
Okay. I will look into it and see if we can, if there's a reservation system possible, and if not, why.
Okay.
I'll get back to you.
Thank you, Monica.
Thank you.
Monica, I hate to immediately turn my back on you as I ask a question. First time I've ever had to do that. I realize this is sort of a Board of Ed question, but it has a serious impact on the town. You identified about 250 new condos or apartments that are being created as we speak. That's going to have an impact on the number and size of our schools. And then there is a proposal that has for the moment been rejected of adding 19 more each year, which would be another 240 students. I'm just wondering if somebody is looking at the overall, what it will do to our capacity, our school physical capacity, as well as the costs of education in town.
Okay, so I think we have 297 new units coming on. That's from Palmer's and from Federal and from Corbin. And we can add 60 more from Parklands from last night. So what's that, 357? That is a significant number of units coming on. We are very welcoming to families that are joining us and excited for them to come here. I think you might be referring to the open choice program. Okay, so that program was designed to initially, as I understand it, again, I'm not education, but as I understand it, it was initially established to address a need of declining enrollment in one municipality and increasing enrollment in another municipality or town. So in this case, it was looking at bringing 16 kindergarten children. They would come into the kindergarten class from Norwalk into Darien. So that's 4 children per class. You know, I think I followed the discussion on this, and I think you know, I'm very respectful of the process and of the board vote. I do understand that the increase is a lot for Darien. I looked at our birth rate. Our birth rate was up 27% just for little babies. And as you go around, you see that we do have a lot of new people in town and with younger children. On the other side of the coin, the Darien schools does hire a person to do enrollment projections, and the enrollment projections they believed could handle these additional children. So at this point, this project, this initiative was not voted forward. And could it be looked at again next year? I'm sure it could be. So I hope that answers your question.
I think, Monica, we have a Zoom questioner. Tom Lom, are you still with us? I know you had your hand raised for a while there.
I am. Thank you very much. And Monica, thank you very much for your comments today. Building on this conversation, not so much from the school perspective, but density of population and land use in the town. You know, you commented earlier about things like the Ziegler estate, and it's you know, on the market, so to speak, things that have happened on the Selleck side of town. Could you comment on your thoughts related to the overall density of land use in the town and what our plans going forward are to manage the development of open space that might be coming on the market, and how we can control that so that the character of the town from a density, physical density, not just a school density, but a physical density can be appropriately managed. Could you please comment?
The density, I believe we're 98% built up. So the density of Darien is a well-known fact. And the additional units, you know, these projects have been in the works for, you know, David Geneviese's project, it's been in the works for over 16 years, right? And now this year, we are seeing the actual ramifications from this project. And Federal, I believe, will be fully rented out by the end of this year. So those units will be full. And Palmer's, yes, it'll, you know, it's in the works right now, but demolition could start if it's approved this fall. And they could be looking to begin construction, you know, late fall, early winter. So all of these projects do add to the density load of our town. And Parklands, we can add that in there as well. So it's very important to consider any open space that we can find, to look at it as an investment for Darien into our future. So I'm very, very focused on that and very interested in that, pursuing that. Thank you.
I'll just make one comment myself. You know, we belong to the Roten Point private beach club that's in Rowayton. And my understanding is that that was part of the site of an amusement park going back to the 1930s, and that that particular property was first offered to New Canaan, which would have allowed New Canaan residents to have a place to go right on the Sound, and they declined that. So I think that probably New Canaan regrets that decision. Certainly, I think you did a good job in, you know, kind of identifying some of the factors that need to be weighed up in the Ziegler property, not only as far as the original purchase price, but also, you know, costs that might be incurred just to keep that property up should the town acquire it. But it's something that is important to try to address, because as I think you said in your talk, this could be a once in a lifetime kind of opportunity for us. And if we were able to afford it, it would be a wonderful addition to the town, but costs has to be weighed up as well. Oh, we have another question here. Yes, Bert.
Monica, I just want to thank you for coming, and I want you to know how much the seniors in town appreciate what the town is doing. The senior center, you know, we couldn't go down there for a while because of COVID, but I think we're all looking forward to a new opening. And the the fact that fees are reduced or eliminated for some of the town services for seniors, we really appreciate that. Thank
Good to
you.
know. That's good to know.
Well, I don't know whether we have any. Oh, we have some other questions. Sunil, would you come on up?
Thanks a lot, Monica. Wonderful review of what's going on in town. I was particularly intrigued by your comments about developing community values. Is that an initiative that you've undertaken, or is that something that the board is trying to do as a group? And what is the goal of that?
I think that this is something that I've have been thinking about, and I will bring it to our board at our next meeting. I fully anticipate that people will be interested in pursuing this. And I think it's when people look to come to Darien, I want them to be able to hit up, Google Darien, what's it like, and to find our community values statement, and to realize that we are a welcoming community, and we want people to come here, to live here, to work here, to retire here, and to enjoy our community. And I want to send that message. Thank you.
Joe Spain has a question.
Thank you. This is something that perhaps others have observed. We've had an awful lot of installations of natural gas to houses in the town. And every time that happens, or almost every time, it requires a trench to be built into the street. And then after the pipes are connected and the trench is filled in, the top of the trench has to be repaved. And the objective, of course, is to make it a non-event to pass over that area of the road. Sometimes it succeeds, sometimes it doesn't. There's a notorious one just south of the train station on the Road Avenue, which I'm sure there are 30 people in this room that have had to slow down or have regretted not slowing down at that location. I'm wondering if there could be a tighter control over the gas company and or the landowner to penalize a poor performance, because when that happens, that's a failed performance. It has been done too cheaply or too unskilled, if you will, when it's been done. And a bond could be required, a bond that might seem excessive at first because we have this problem. And then the town could spend any amount of money they wish to make it work, and to do it in the middle of winter or any other time that isn't as cheap as doing it in the summer when you can do it right. And I just think that this is something that needs attention, and it's something that happens all over the town. Thank you.
Thank you, Joe. So as I mentioned, for this Eversource project for the natural gas, they laid lines down on West Avenue, and they have lines down on the Post Road. The West Avenue, I'm not a natural gas expert, but when it was put in, our Director of Public Works, Ed Gentile, was forward thinking enough to request that, okay, I don't know what this term is, but basically a connector to the along this main line, should there in the future be homes that wanted to hook up to it or to go down these other streets. So that's a long-winded way of saying that West Avenue should remain relatively undisturbed, okay? The Beach Drive properties, that they will be tapping into the Post Road main. This project will start this summer, this early spring, and it has been, we are confident that there will be no open trenches for the winter. That's a non-starter for our Department of Public Works. And the final paving will be done within 3 years. So they will do the work, they will do a temporary, and then when we are doing other paving, we will incorporate that into our paving project. I understand the bonding issue. That's a new concept, and I will take that under consideration. But I will look to see if we could, during this process, have this other location looked at to see if we can remediate the problem there. But thank you for bringing it to my attention.
I think we're certainly challenging you to be able to answer an electric group of questions. We have another Zoom participant who has a question, John Bassler.
Monica, thank you very much for your.
We can hear you. Go ahead.
I am
You're still
unmuting
muted, John.
myself. Okay, now I'm unmuted, correct?
Yes.
Okay. I still get another, okay, unmute you myself. Takes 3 times with my technology. First of all, thank you very much, Monica, and congratulations on being our first selectman. We know that's not an easy job, particularly with all the various things that you've covered, because we're at a unique time, I think, in our town. In terms of all of this building that's going on, I think it's very good and it will be helpful, but it's obviously going to have an impact on our culture. And you were talking a little bit about values, and I know that Joe Spain asked a question about that. How do you see the current values of Darien, and what would you like to see us do more? And how can we, as sort of older citizens here and longtime citizens, I've been here for 43 years, what can we do to help you?
Wow. An offer of help. Get this man's name. Somebody sign him up. Thank you. Thank you so much for the question. So how could we help? How could we be a warmer, more welcoming community? I think we are a warm and welcoming community myself. I think I'm looking at a lot of gentlemen here who are here. You're gathered together with your friends. I appreciate the interest that you show in the town and that you invite me and other members of town government to come. I understand, as I said before, that you have Jim Palin coming, and I'm sure that you have many, many terrific speakers. I would say what you could do is branch out from the Men's Association and join other groups that we have going, join other boards and commissions in town, or join me for lunch or coffee anytime. I would love to hear what you're thinking. You have a wealth of knowledge, and I would like to tap into it.
And just to follow up, if I may, Monica, since right now there are no hands raised, at least from Zoom, that in terms of the separation from the Board of Education, it seems to me that you, as the mayor of this town, should have some influence in terms of that body. And do they not invite you to board meetings or find out what you think? And because you are, relaying the town's points of view as you're hearing them today.
I think that all of the boards in town have a really great working relationship. I have felt this. Maybe this hasn't always been the case. So we have a meeting once a month where we all get together and discuss different things and get kind of caught up to speed on what we're doing. But historically, the Board of Education has been in charge for decisions with the school board, and I'm sure always welcome to come and give my input, but they were elected as representatives of our town to serve on the Board of Education and to make those decisions. And I was elected as your first selectman to run your town, to make sure it's run safely, that your services are up to what you are used to, and that everything goes smoothly, so that when you go home every night or you get off the train every night, you don't worry about what's going on in town on my side. That is my commitment, and that's what I strive to do every day. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
We have another question. When do you come up, and so that people on Zoom can see you as well? We're keeping you on your toes, Monica.
heard Bob Duff on the radio a couple of days ago, and he opened up the issue of having his constituents from Norwalk be able to have the students come into the more welcome classroom here in Darien. That's one question. The other one is sort of past is that we've been struggling with Hartford with respect to zoning. They feel that they would do a better job rather than our zoning people who know the town, know the issues, know the effect that it will have. And I wonder if you'd touch base on that as well.
Well, as far as Senator Duff goes, I think I welcome him coming into Darien, and he represents us, and I would, I'm always very interested in hearing what initiatives he is taking to further our town's progress. Your second question was respect to zoning. So this was a very big topic last year. SB 1024 was a bill that was brought forth that had very onerous zoning restrictions included in it. I would suggest that Hartford take a look at what Darien has done. Between 2010 and 2020, we added, I believe it's 860 multifamily units, and 31% of those were affordable. Our housing inclusionary zoning requirements right now are 14% inclusionary zoning on any multifamily project. That's 40% above what the state recommends. They require 10. We just passed new zoning regulations. We require 14%. So I think if you want to see what a great job a town is doing on affordable housing, you should take a look at Darien, because I believe we are a leader in this area. Thank you.
Let's see, do we have any other questions here in the room, first of all? I don't think we have any from our Zoom colleagues. Well, Monica, thank you so much for meeting with us today, sharing your views, giving us a very comprehensive overview, and answering questions that come from all sides. So welcome to the role of First Selectman, where you've got to be able to do that. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.